Welcome back to Compassion Rocks. This week, we are continuing our conversation around building community. And if you caught my last episode, it was about what community is and what community is not, because I think a lot of us may have some confusion around that. And oftentimes we get ourselves into trouble thinking that we are in community with people that we are definitely not feeling a reciprocity with, or a feeling of being lifted up, encouraged, supported in a way that we define success for ourselves. Rather, maybe it's superimposed onto us based on other people's agendas, right? So there's a lot of scenarios where that can happen. And I think we can mistakenly believe that that's community, and that's just not true. So giving yourself the space to redefine what community looks like and is for you, so important. Because having access to a real authentic community is next level. It's going to bring you into new territory where you can live and be your best self. Very powerful stuff. So this week, we're talking about where to find your tribe, where to find your people. I came up with a short list of 4 ideas of where you may look, and also what to look for when you get there, so that you can assess fairly quickly and have a pretty good idea by the time that you leave if you have found some community or not. It's probably going to involve some listening, some active listening to those folks that are around you who might be sharing. It's probably going to involve you asking some open-ended questions to get more information. It might involve you sharing and being in a somewhat vulnerable state, which can be really, really scary for a lot of us. I'll talk about that a little bit later in this episode, because it's very important to allow yourself to be you. And at the same time, if you are in a group of people for the first time and they are strangers to you, that's not the safest scenario to share your deepest, darkest secrets. So we'll get into that a little later. The first place where you might find your tribe are meetups. Remember those? God, I was really into meetups back in the day, pre-pandemic, obviously. They were huge. You could meet up with people on any topic, anywhere, at any time, especially living in New York City. It was a wonderful time to be in a meetup, and you would meet the most interesting people, depending on the meetup and the theme. So back in the day, I would go to tech meetups. I would go to women in business meetups. I would go to gluten-free meetups because I am gluten-free. It would be weird to go to a gluten-free meetup if I wasn't. I went to a lot of different meetups, and it was so that I could continue to grow my network and have a baked-in support system of people that aren't necessarily the people that I work with every day. They aren't necessarily the same people in my friend groups or my family, right? In those situations, they were all strangers in the beginning. But those relationships can blossom because in a lot of the meetups that I attended, there was a sense of freedom to sort of pull off into smaller groups of people. And that would be the opportunity to learn about someone new. Obviously, you have a shared passion. That's why you're there. And from there, it blossoms into perhaps something bigger. Just suppose you're at a meetup and you've met someone and they seem kind of interesting, and you pull off into a small group and you're talking, lighthearted. How's the weather? What do you think of the meetup so far? Have you been to this meetup before? Just asking some basic questions and moving towards open-ended questions, which again get you more information. So it's trying to stay away from, or at least the majority of closed questions, which are they end in yes or no answers. Open-ended questions where you get lots more information and you get to learn lots more about the person. And as they begin to share, you might notice that they might value some things that you value. When you notice this might be the opportunity to share something a little about yourself. These are strangers, right? So in the beginning, maybe not the safest space to share your deepest, darkest secrets. If anything, at that point in time, doing so may not connect you more deeply with the person in front of you. It may actually scare them away. So keeping that in mind, sharing something a little bit about yourself that is along the lines of the shared value that you heard from the person you're speaking to when they were sharing, as they were answering your question, okay? So perhaps they really appreciate the freedom of that meetup. And for me, freedom is an intrinsic core value. So that would light me up. And maybe I might share a quick soundbite about why I value freedom in these sorts of meetup situations, right? So keeping it on theme, but sharing something honest and genuine with a new person who has already shared that they appreciate and value freedom. When you notice that you have a shared value with someone, there's something there worth revisiting, and perhaps it's an opportunity to go grab coffee at a separate time. Perhaps it's just an exchange of information and you're going to stay in touch. If you are noticing a shared value, this is the sign. This is the sign that perhaps you might be able to build community. Industry conferences are a great place to look for community and your tribe. And I have attended industry conferences for over 2 decades, and some of them have royally sucked, and most of them have been pretty good, and some have been great. The great ones are the ones where the event organizers make everyone feel safe and comfortable. The attendees are clear on what they're doing there. And most industry conferences allow for networking experiences in between scheduled programming. So if there's panel discussions or interviews or workshops, there might also be some sort of networking event scheduled in between where attendees have a chance to get to know each other. This is a wonderful way to put strangers together who have like passions. Again, we're all attending the same conference, so we know baseline we have the same passion. So I came up in music and entertainment and the arts, so a lot of the conferences that I went to were theme-based. So entertainment conferences, music conferences, etc. And so I already knew going into the room that these people worked in the same business or industry as I did. Foundation. So I might walk over to somebody who is sharing with someone else, and I can sort of just listen in on the edge. And I'm sensitive to the opportunity where maybe the conversation dies down, there's a lull, and I take that opportunity and say, hey, hi, I'm LJ. Nice to meet you. What's your name? What do you think of the conference so far? How's it going for you? Start to ask questions that might garner more information of potentially shared values. Again, this is such a huge sign to notice. Shared values is going to take the relationship deeper. And this goes for all relationships, by the way. I remember sitting in my dentist chair back in 2005. He was talking to me about romantic relationships. But he said, yeah, I met my wife and we're still together today. And it was, I think they've been married for 2 or 3 decades, which is awesome. And I said, well, what's the secret? How'd you do it? And he said, well, we have shared intrinsic core values. And that means we can work through anything. We can up and down, we are good because we have the same values and we know we can get through tough times and celebrate the great moments. Just because you have a common passion does not ultimately make them part of your tribe. So values, core values are your essence. It's who you are. It's who you are. It doesn't change. It doesn't alter. And it's your North Star. You find somebody else who has overlapping core values, potential bestie, potential business partner, potential life partner. Don't know. Got to find out. And the only way to find out is to ask open-ended questions and share your values in context of what's going on around you. Share your values with them. See what happens. Another place where you can find your tribe is an online community. And, for people like me who live practically in the middle of nowhere, it's been a blessing. I'm a part of all sorts of online communities. I love my online communities. And most of them are membership based, and I am more than happy to give them my money every month because the value that comes from these online communities is insane. It's totally off the hook. And the thing that I love about online communities is, you can check in from home. There's no commuting. It's a lot more accessible, I think is my point. And I just love it for that. And I love it so much that I formed CoMuse. It's truly been a game changer for me. CoMuse it's the best online community I have ever been a part of. And I designed it from a place of, if I could take my own core values, which are, by the way, worthiness, creativity, integrity, love, nonviolent communication, intuition, and compassion. I have 7. They correspond with my chakras. That's how I think about it. Back 7 years ago when I was starting to put this together for CoMuse, when I thought about my core values and how that might look manifested in a group of people, in a tribe, in a community, out came CoMuse. What we have now it's incredible. It's incredible. It is the loveliest group of people who, honestly, they give more than they take. I didn't ask for that, but I appreciate it, and it is my MO as well. So that's shared. But we really respect and uplift and encourage each other to be the best versions of ourselves. At work, it's a career development platform. So for all you creatives out there, who are feeling a little alone, or maybe you're working from home and you're feeling lonely, I want to invite you to check out CoMuse. It's a great community. There's price levels for everybody. Moving on to the last place where people might look for community, and ironically, I think it's probably the first place that most people look for community, and that's work. So, okay, at the time I'm making this video, it's 2024. Work is, depending on the type of labor that you do, work is possibly a hybrid role where you're working from home part-time and you're going in part-time. Most of our listeners and viewers are creative entrepreneurs, so that is the case for them. Others might be fully remote. I myself am fully remote, although I do occasionally travel for live events and meetings, but this is the office. So, things have evolved. Then we have a lot of people who are still going into work every day because maybe they just physically have to be there. So work environments have changed. And if you're looking for community at work, you got to go back and listen to my previous episode, because I shared a really great story about thinking that my workplace was going to be my community. And out of that, well, you'll have to just go listen to the story. Again, I want to remind everybody, like, just because you are in a room with other people does not instantly make them your community. That puts you in a place of high expectations, which is not bad. I don't discourage high expectations, but it can come across as a little naive if you expect people to treat you the way you want to be treated or the way you treat them just because they work there in the same place with you. Same thing with work, same technique really with work when you're looking for your tribe. Quick story here. I didn't mention this in the previous episode, but I definitely met one person. I met a few people at my workplace that became part of my tribe, but this one person, we clicked fairly quickly because we were on the same vibe. We were in the same energy plane, and we were able to be vulnerable enough with each other to get to the point where we were sharing our values so quickly that we knew we were going to be friends. And she is truly one of my besties for life. She's the type of person where, like, we are crying, laughing all the time, like getting in trouble at work, crying, laughing. This person is an extension of my family. And I am so grateful that after maybe a not so great experience at that workplace, something really awesome came out of it. Okay, so getting back to shared values, asking open-ended questions, active listening to the person that you're speaking to better understand where they're coming from and how they might value this shared place that you're working in. And sharing a little bit about your values in this place that you're working in, something that maybe you're really excited about, something maybe that you feel a little bit challenged with. Again, don't share your deepest, darkest secrets in the beginning. It's totally unnecessary, and it may not do what you hope it will do. But keep it in the context of the framework that you're in. If you're in the workplace, keep it work-focused until you know that you can have an even deeper conversation with shared values. So it's step by step. This is a gradual process. As are all relationships, you build them over time. Some of the best relationships I have in my life are relationships that I built over time, not out of convenience. So keep that in mind. I hope that's helpful. And of course, if you have any questions or any feedback at all, I would love to hear from you in the comments, and let me know how finding your tribe goes. And I'll talk to you next time. Compassion rocks.